It kind of looks like we're edging our beards in a similar way, but that's basically irrelevant to the album, I guess. Welcome back to Y.E.S, everyone. Today we're going to talk about Anniversary, the third studio album released by Bryson Tiller. This was an album that kind of just popped out of me, and it appears that this guy has some fans. My semi-small circle of friends who are indeed R&B fans were fairly excited for this album to come out. I didn't know much about Bryson before listening to this album, and there's something about his sound that I do want to admire. I looked under some sources, and it appears that he is very influenced by artists such as Omarion and The Dream. I do like the sound and style that this album was going for. There's a lot of the music itself in this album that is trying to keep me hooked and engaged. And then there are also moments where I realized this probably still isn't the album for me. Bryson doesn't have a bad voice, but I don't find it particularly engaging, at least for this album. I'd have to check his other albums to see if I would change my mind in that regard. But throughout the whole album, I found it pretty basic. Nothing vocal-wise I was really hooked on. And lyrically, most of this album I find is pretty... what's the word I really wanted to use? It's kind of just jibber-jabber. Let's explore some of the details within the songs here. The very first song here is titled Years Go By, and the only thing I could really say that he's trying to go for an elusive and mysterious vibe, while it's kinda not meshing with its beat. It doesn't totally strike against it, but the beat is alright, and the rest of the song is just kinda conflicting with it. The second song in here is probably one of his better songs. It's kind of got a tick, tick, tick kind of feel in there. And, it's just a little bit better and not cliche as I'm going to kind of feel throughout the rest of the album here. The song, I'm Ready For You, the verses are okay. The chorus, kind of bad. And the production for this song is just messy. The next song is called Things Change. 2/3 of the production in this song were alright, they were pretty decent, but it also includes these strange vocals that certain types of R&B artists like to use that kind of sound like squeaky chipmunk background vocals. There are times where I think that actually can be pulled off pretty well, I'll admit, but here I'm not really convinced of that. The timeless interlude, as I have alluded to many times in these reviews, I'm not a huge fan, but because its piano was so well, I kind of enjoyed it, but there are points that could be knocked off for just being there to be just a short pause. I just don't care for it unless it really, really works. The song Sorrows is another one that has a great beat in there, so you might want to check that one out just for its beat. The song Inhale has something kind of different that takes place. It has vocals that have an effect that get dimmed in a way that feels random, but also at a time where it just happens when the beat gets a little more heavy. So there's a mix of volume and distortion. Now, the song that probably everyone was really excited to hear was Out of Time, that features Drake. The problem is, this song isn't really that memorable. It's memorable for the sake that it has Drake in it. But that just kind of points out the problems that the song has. If your feature is the most memorable thing, I mean, that can happen, being the most memorable thing, but when it's really like 90% of the thing that you only remember, and then you're like, oh wait, I guess that song was also by Bryson Tiller. Like, you're not doing yourself many favors in that regard. The 9th song in this album is called Keep Doing What You're Doing. It's, to me, a lo-fi song without a lo-fi beat. I'm not sure if that is like something you can actually imagine, but that's what I could come up with. So to round it all out, The big point I'm saying is there's enough production in here that makes me think, yeah, you are totally taking influence from an era and from artists that I respect and find somewhat underrated. But also, you gotta at least stand out on your own. And when you do have slight production moments or just something that stands out because Drake happened to be on your album, I'm not really that impressed. This is one of those R&B artists that does want to be more edgy rather than soulful and romantic. And there is a place to go within that route, edgy. But when you just rely on being kind of graphic and vulgar, not excessively, but it's definitely there, I don't find much substance to be able to hold the rest of your album up, and I don't find this as a great way to be able to come back because it took him a few years to be able to get this album ready. And usually I would wish that artists would take a little time to be able to do that with their music. But in this case, I don't see any payoff. So, after having listened and reviewed this album, I'm going to give production a C, I'm going to give creativity a D, I'm going to give expression and lyrics an F, and if you were to ask me, how would I recommend this album? I'd say it's okay. There's enough production in here that doesn't make it awful. Some beats are not that great, but there's enough in here that's alright, and I can tell that he's actually trying, but there's not much in here to be able to say, you should definitely look at this one, but there's probably enough people who are going to like it that have a taste for something else in here that I just don't find very pleasant for the musical ear. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow my links in the description below, and be sure to leave a like for the video as well as a comment down below if you want to engage with me. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time. And then I need something to end with. I don't have any songs I'm going to highlight. Well, good job on recruiting Drake, okay? Fun dude to be able to talk with. I'm sure you guys had a blast making that song. But yeah.